The Honourable Nanaya Mahuta.
Mr Speaker, Social Justice Week is an opportunity for us as a Parliament to reflect on the type of society that we should have. Is it fair and decent? Is it a society where there is a greater equality of outcome? Is it a society where our democratic principles are upheld at every point of the decision-making process? I listened very carefully to this debate, and you could be forgiven for thinking that we're talking about two types of New Zealands here. One where everybody gets a fair go, or the other where those who are most successful will get a shot at it. Mr Speaker, Social Justice Week is also an opportunity to highlight some really significant issues, and it's about people. Do we think it's acceptable in New Zealand to have greater levels of homelessness, harder for families to buy a home, whether they're in provincial New Zealand or in urban settings, elderly feeling insecure in communities that they once thrived in? No, it's not. Something's happening in New Zealand. Is it acceptable that there are greater levels of low-income households unable to support their family? Insecure work. There's been a change in employment conditions. The minimum wage and expecting families to live on that? No, it's not. Things have been tough in the last 8 years. Is it acceptable that young children are raised in cold, damp houses, whether it's provincial New Zealand or in the city, paying higher rentals? No, it's not. 8 years of this government's rule have actually made it harder for families and children. Is it acceptable that higher numbers of children are moved from school to school to school because families cannot afford to live in the homes in their area? So they go and take their families to live in garages, on couches, until they find something stable because the government sold off state houses? No, it's not. That's what's happened in the last 8 years. Social Justice Week is an opportunity for us as a Parliament to say, is this the type of society that provides opportunity for all New Zealanders? Sadly, it hasn't. I want to know what happened to Aroha. You know Aroha, remember Aroha from Meakin Close, where the Prime Minister held her hand and gave her hope and promise, a better New Zealand for all? Where is Aroha? She's in Australia with hundreds and thousands of other New Zealanders who did not see any hope and opportunity here in New Zealand because times have got tough. Times have got tough. There are more families living in poverty. There are lower household incomes able to support the needs of families who just want a leg up. They want hope and opportunity, all right? And they are in provincial New Zealand. They are also in the cities of New Zealand. They are working harder to make ends meet, and they want to work, but there's not enough work around. Under this government, it's been really difficult. The erosion of workers' rights, health and safety legislation which doesn't give the full protection that it should, charter schools, setting up a two-type education system, those who are in the public system and get funded at a lower rate than those who are in charter schools. How can that be fair? How can that be fair? Whangaruru comes to mind. But the government would like to create a two-tier education system under its proposal that it's better for all New Zealanders. I can't see the benefit. Privatised prisons. Look at the shambles that's happening there under Serco. Can that be right in terms of justifying taxpayers' money and what's happening there? Heck, we've even heard that the government might be going down the track of privatised social services. Who knows? But what I find fundamentally difficult to believe in the last 8 years is the total impact that the sell-off of state houses have had on every family that I certainly represent, and how hard it has gotten for people to get a good home, and what the private rental market is doing to those who are most vulnerable and at the lower income end of the street. Here's the thing. I know a mother with 2 children in a caravan park who was paying $340. Living in a caravan park with 2 children, paying $340 a week, is that fair? I don't think so. And that's under the last 8 years of this government. Those types of things have popped up. But then let's talk about democracy. It's okay to have a say on the flag, but not the TPP. How can that be democracy in terms of a New Zealand that wants to be informed about the things that are impacting on their lives? And if it all is about economic opportunity, greater productivity, a chance for people to really flourish in New Zealand, then let people know what's happening under that. They're not.
Well,
This government in the last 8 years
has
has not
expired.
delivered the gains
Order.
to low-income families.